stop me. 'Cause I'm having a good time, I'm a shooting star leaping through the sky, like a tiger defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by, reclaiming a diver. I'm gonna go, 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 they are so stopping me. I'm running through the sky, yeah, 200 degrees, it's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light, I wanna make a supersonic man out of you. I'm having such a good time, I'm having a ball. If you wanna have a good time, just give me a call. 'Cause I'm having a good time, yeah, I'm having a good time, I don't wanna stop at all. Yeah. Rocket ship on my way to Mars, on a collision course, I am a satellite, I'm out of control, I am a sex machine ready to reload, like an atom bomb, that's explode. I'm burning through the sky, yeah, 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light, I'm gonna make a supersonic woman of you.
I will get you that in a DM. It's a Latin musician that is very talented on the keyboard and other instruments. He put the whole arrangement together himself, including the vocals. The next time I open Spotify, I'll shoot his name, or just a link to it. But good evening, everybody. We are here for. Let me make some updates already. Thank you very much to Rocketlab, who decided that they were going to change the launch time during the freaking countdown. It is now 0:42:02, and the clock is already updated. So we got about 38 minutes until launch. They have not gone live with their stream tonight. Thank you everybody who kind of hung out for a couple hours ahead of this, watching some NASA TV. We saw some really cool stuff that about flying solar probes and how fast they need to go. But we are going to cover the Electron rideshare tonight, hopefully launching at 12:44:02 Eastern Daylight Time this morning. And then I'm going to take a nap, because I'll be back up at about 5 a.m. for SpaceX, because they're launching Starlink 8 this morning. Nap is right. So in any event, that's not a night's sleep. I don't get a night's sleep, Feach. I don't sleep more than 5 hours most nights, if I get that much. That's why I sleep during the day. I biphasic sleep pattern. It's weird. In any event, some news from space, generally speaking. Those of you who watched the DM2 launch saw a woman who was responsible for the commercial crew program named Kathy Luters. She has been promoted to associate administrator at NASA, in charge of all human spaceflight, and that's a good thing. It means two things. It means NASA wants to position her expertise working with commercial partners into a position where she has that background already, because that is obviously the future of getting crewed missions from American soil going again. NASA is way behind on SLS. They don't have a lightweight launch vehicle. Right now, they just have Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon, but Starliner's coming along, and Kathy's the right person. I like the choice. So it was made official today. It had been rumored for a few days. So that's awesome. The other thing is that we tried to watch this launch, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. We stayed up until about 2:30 in the morning, and it was scrubbed due to winds. They're already saying tonight the wind conditions are way better, so I have much higher hopes that there will be a launch tonight. As soon as Rocketlab takes their coverage live, right now they're still looping their feed from the other night. Like, they're just showing it on repeat. That's what happened earlier whenever the audio kicked in during the non-recorded portion of tonight. When Fish was like, "Oh my God, the music's so loud," that's what they did. They just started playing their looped video. It's actually covered up right now. Yeah, rude, because they were like, "Oh yeah, we won't start the live stream until T-minus 15 minutes." It's like, okay, well that's good. I'll just bring it up. I'll let it sit there. As soon as I hear audio, I'll cut to it. Nope. They decided to deafen everybody. One of the things I was fooling around with, and I still have to figure out a good channel for, is those channel buttons that were there on NASA TV. I like the idea of watching NASA TV on the stream. I like the concept that people can just come and go as they want. I'm going to watch it anyway. I actually enjoy watching NASA TV. I learn a lot of things. So I like the idea that people can come in, and handing control of the channels over to the audience is something I've been wanting to work on, and the first two buttons work. So I'm going to try to expand the remote control and also make it work on mobile. I believe I already have the buttons there for the mobile interface, but that requires more testing. One other thing, and this is going to matter more to the Outlaws in general, is the Mixer Clip system is now in beta for non-partners. Gilly is running with that, as he is the Outlaw in charge of the Twitter tweets that show all of our funny videos. So he has also developed code that works with the bot platform that he and I both use that will enable us to capture those clips directly into Discord without using Boom. And the idea is we're going to retire Boom. Gilly and myself, we're talking to Dustin. We're going to talk to Perm about it. Perm's already wanting to drop Boom, but as a community, we want to move away from needing to use Boom because it's a costly amount of I/O. Relaying it the way we do, Gilly's system is very clean. It's one script. It's checking the same API we check for all the go lives we announce, including the one for Fish that, if she ever does go live one day, will announce her go live. So it's well done code by Gilly. It's well implemented. We actually brought his bot into the Discord today so that he can have direct control. What up, Doc? Why are you not driving? But we brought Gilly's bot. It's just called GillyBot into the Discord today, and that is to allow him to have more direct control over what he needs to do in order to do the thing he's working on. Waiting on freight? That sucks. Then one other thing, for those of you that missed the announcement, and again, this is for the few people that are hanging out here, but still, it's worth mentioning. K's posted tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern time, and I reference Eastern time because it's what most people who watch this stream can reference easily too. There is an MS for Ireland event going on involving Minecraft for 2 hours, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow afternoon. There is some sort of team event being done where teams are competing within Minecraft, and donations will help teams in sort of like a Hunger Games type of a style. He's asked that if possible, the Outlaws show up, even just to say hi. So if you have the time tomorrow afternoon, and you're not following K's already, if you would just pop in, say hi, and give him your moral support, if nothing else, I would appreciate it. That's your guy right there. Hey, look, that's behind the clock. That probably shouldn't be there like that. Why? That's weird. It should be way higher than that. Whatever. Next time it'll work. So 32 minutes left to go until launch tonight. Again, we're waiting for the looped content to clean up. There's one other mission that is on schedule now, and I'm going to take us over here real quick and turn off NASA TV, because here are the upcoming missions. The first one is the one we're launching tonight. It is Don't Stop Me Now. It's supposed to launch at now 12:44. And the rideshare mission will have the NRO satellites, the NASA CubeSat payload, and the Australian Air Force payload. This is the new one on the calendar. It'll be next Friday because the time lines up. It is the first flight of Vega since it exploded last year. So I'm interested to watch it, and the time's good. So we're going to watch that launch. And then this is the one tomorrow morning. Starlink at 5:21 a.m. liftoff. I plan to turn the stream on about 4:45 and rub the crusties out of my eyes and go. I'm not going to sleep in my flight suit, but it's going to be laying right there for me to jump into. So that's what's going on for the next week. Those we have the two launches in the next 6 hours, and then we have the launch next Friday. Still looking into a way to formulate some sort of news format without killing myself like I did the last time I tried to do it. I'd like to do it in a way that I could present almost in a recorded fashion, where I do it once live and then that video becomes something I can play in NASA TV without having to reproduce the content as quickly as I was doing in the past, which will enable a broader reach, because when it was live it was generally like 10 people. If I can play it 2 or 3 times, I might be able to get more people to see it, even if I'm just in chat or on the mic to answer questions. I'm still playing with ideas. Doc cautioned me today when we were playing Fallout, don't burn yourself out, and I'm not trying to. That is what brought the curtain down on BOSA last year, because I just couldn't keep up with the launch tempo and the tempo of producing what I desire to have in terms of a quality show. So, still evaluating avenues forward. Yes, no fire. Yes, no burnout. So I do appreciate the fact that Fish is here a lot and Manny is here a lot. I know Mads likes the BOSA streams, and so does Dustin. So I just want to make sure that we reach as broad of an audience as we can, because I've always wanted to make sure that kids see what I'm doing. Now, obviously, kids are not going to be up right now. It's 12:14 in the morning, but this will be recorded, and even if there's only one person for launches, I'm still going to do launches, record them, so that there are videos out there where a person can see that another person is as excited as they are about science and space, and etc. So, with that said, we are 29 minutes away. We don't have a new update from Rocketlab yet, so everything is still go. Oh, well, we do have great. We do have an update. Launch has been pushed back 10 minutes. So we are now at 12:54. Now 40 minutes from now. There is a weather concern. Well, yep, there's a weather concern at the launch site at Pad 1. So we'll stick with it. But one of the things that I wanted to do, or keep doing, is the "Where's My Money Going" segment that Permanoob kind of spurred. And I have one of those loaded up. You may see the same one simply because I might replay that. I will replay it in the morning. I'm not going to go find another one for 5 a.m. We'll have a fresh one next week. But on that note, this is
I love money.
what is on the plate for "Where's My Money Going" this week.
DMD, or Duchenne muscular dystrophy, is the most common muscle disease affecting young boys. It affects about 1 in 3,600. It's an incurable condition, and it results in really muscle weakness that worsens over a boy's lifetime. Typically, boys lose their ability to walk around age 12. As boys go through adolescence, they have usually additional complications related to their lung or pulmonary health, as well as more often than not will develop cardiac disease, heart disease, and unfortunately most boys will pass away in their 20s from complications such as pneumonia or heart failure.
In order to combat diseases like this, we have to study the structure of proteins that are associated with that particular disease. In order to do that, we first must crystallize the protein. And that crystal is basically millions of copies of that same protein aligned like a row of bricks on a wall, but in 3 dimensions. But here's the problem. When we try to grow a crystal on Earth, gravity can affect the way the molecules become aligned on the crystal surface, and that affects the overall quality of the crystal. The ideal environment to grow a more perfect crystal would be a lab that we could have up in space orbiting the globe so that we are free of Earth's gravity. Luckily, we have one of those with the International Space Station.
Since 2003, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency has conducted more than 16 sessions of the protein crystal growth experiments on board the International Space Station.
In microgravity, the crystals grow much more slowly, but the molecules have more time to get perfectly arranged on the surface of the crystal, and that gives us much better data.
One of the most promising results has been gained by studying a protein associated with Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
Studying this protein led to a huge discovery. Like a key fitting into a keyhole, we are able to design a drug that perfectly binds to this protein.
By knowing the shape of that keyhole, we can tailor-make a drug to fit into a specific location of the protein.
What this means is we may be able to slow the disease by half. Instead of being in a wheeling chair at 12, we might be able to push that age to 25. Instead of being dependent upon this patient at 20 years old, it would be 40. What we're talking about is potentially doubling the lifespan of many of these DMD patients. And it's all because of research opportunity afforded to us by the International Space Station.
This research is really just in its infancy. There are literally thousands of other proteins whose structures we need to determine, and the International Space Station is going to provide a platform where we can hopefully grow much better crystals that allow us to get structures and to learn more about how these molecules function in our body, in bacteria, or in viruses. We're doing this research not just for ourselves or our children, but for generations to come. Many of the protein structures that will be determined wouldn't be possible without the International Space Station.
I'm hoping that those trials will be successful, that they will tell us, yes, there is a way that we can keep these boys stronger for a longer period of time, that we can help their heart and pulmonary function, and that they can live longer, that they can grow up and go to school and do the things that we all want our children to do.
Imagine being one of those parents where your son has Duchenne muscular dystrophy and you were told when they were diagnosed that your child would live 25. And this advancement that microgravity in a national laboratory on the ISS that is able to produce these crystals to allow scientists to produce a properly shaped protein to effectively double your child's lifespan. Take everything else the ISS has done and put that to the side, and if that's available to 1,000 parents in the world, it was worth every penny. Because I can't imagine looking at my kid and not having him past age 25. So say what you want to say, and this isn't directed at anybody. I know I joke about perm. This isn't directed at anyone, but say what you want to say about the money spent on space. Can't do those things on Earth to the degree that they have been done in space. And when I learned about the research that JAXA has done on ISS with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, it blew my mind that the simple absence of gravity in the lab allowed them to work down a path that will double lifespan for these patients. It's amazing. As you said, Fish, in chat when it was playing, that's incredible. It's an incredible scientific advancement. The disease has no cure, and there's plenty of diseases in the world that have no cure, that shorten lifespans, that are protein-based diseases, that are reactive protein, like the Duchenne muscular dystrophy is. And imagine if the same or similar approach can be used to treat MS patients, which is a much wider swath of the population. Imagine if you could develop a protein using the same basic crystal structure concepts that could push MS patients to secondary progressive status, which is to relapsing remitting status, which is the good kind of MS, and get them out of the secondary progressive, which is the bad kind of MS. Imagine if there's a protein trigger developed in the same crystal protein research that they're doing right now that affected the people that have MS like that. That would be world changing for those people. And there's a reason why the ISS is important. This is another phenomenal example of that. And I don't think it's too much to ask that we continue to put money into programs that can make that level of a difference in people's lives. The idea with, Canadarm2 and the MRI friendly robotic arms that can do in machine biopsies that's a nifty quality of life thing. But the ability to alter the progression of a degenerative disease is amazing. And as everyone's 4 or 5 scientists in that video stated, they would not have been able to find the right size keyhole without ISS. Yeah, MS is a disease that scares the crap out of me. MS is effectively plaque that forms on the spine and brain, and it affects neurological function. And there's another disease with no cure, but it's protein triggered, just like Duchenne muscular dystrophy is. Imagine the potential. Imagine if you could take that, what Manny's talking about in chat, and make that much of an impact to a lot of different diseases. Anyway, I'll digress, but I hear people say all the time, oh, space is space and it's really cool, we launch rockets, but what are we doing there? Because there's problems here on Earth that need solved. That's a problem here on Earth that just got a decent solution, or at least is in trials for a decent solution. Space exploration, both human and automated, advances solutions on Earth all the time. And that's just another good example of it. Anyway, we are 28 minutes away from launch. We have not received any further pushback on the launch time. It's currently 12:25. Rocketlab just dumped off their stream, so I'm going to refresh that page, and hopefully they are back to a banner. They are onto their launch startup, so we'll bring that over here. There is Rocketlab up there. We will bring their audio up, and when they go live, we will go live with them. So let's make them nice and big screen, and there you go. So hopefully everybody had a good Friday. I know that there's been a few rough weeks out there for people. I did some rearranging in my apartment today. I know that I have talked to you guys about the mission board that we are building as a community through these sorts of streams. And what I did today was repurpose a gift. It was something that was given to me whenever I was dating Ash. And what I have done is taken the item that was in that, and I have used it to become our mission board. So the patches that are in this board are protected by UV glass, meaning they will not fade. You can see down the middle is the International Space Station's patch, which is central to everything that we're really doing right now. And then the DM2 mission patch, because it's extremely historical. And then as you go down, there's the NASA Meatball, the NASA Worm, which I love. Let me turn down Rocketlab real quick, because that's really loud. And then we have the Artemis mission patch, or Artemis program patch, because that's going to be big time to what we're talking about with BOSA for the next 4 years. And then that's Falcon Heavy, 'cause it's an amazing patch, but it has nothing to do with anything who's ever watched. Come over to this side, you see Crew Dragon Demo 1, which we watched last year together. This is Arabsat 6A, which we watched together. That was the Falcon Heavy launch we watched last year. This is Falcon 9 New Santara Satu, the very first launch we watched. This is WRX-10, which is a government communication satellite. We watched that launch. And this is Expedition 61, which we watched the crew launch for, and it was the expedition on the ISS which had the first ever all-female spacewalk. This is STS-105. This is the Challenger patch. The Apollo patch will be here very shortly. And then as we put more patches on the board for missions that we watch together, I will try to track down this mission if we get to watch it launch tonight. They will start to replace the other mission patches that are up here that are ones that we have not watched together. Those are just kind of filling space for me right now. But anyway, that's the board. That's what it looks like, but we'll get over to Rocketlab here.
Those of you who follow our launches will know that we were only days away from launching this mission in late March, when operations were paused in response to the global COVID-19 situation. Like countless other businesses,
so let me see about moving myself around here so that I'm not blocking their clock. I don't really care about blocking this dude. So let's move you, and you.
A few weeks later, with restrictions now eased, we're back in the
up there so we can see the clock.
By quickly adapting the way we work, we've been able to maintain a
Here we
state
go.
of launch readiness throughout the disruption. We've held on to our entire workforce and continued placing orders with our suppliers, many of them being small businesses across the US.
So we are at T-minus, that 12 can't be right. There's no way that time is right. They have to be replaying again.
Enable us to build rockets in days, not months or years. With these systems now in place, we can produce an Electron every 18 days to meet our busy
It has to be a replay.
this year and well into 2021. We're incredibly proud of the way
12,
our team has adapted to new ways of working, and we're
12:54:32 now, the new confirmed time. So I'll adjust that time into the clock real quick. Yeah, there's no way that clock's right.
The Electron launch vehicle is a 3-stage liquid-fueled launch vehicle designed specifically for small satellite missions. To date, Electron has flown 48 commercial and government small satellites to space. Successful deployment of this
So
mission will
just
bring
some stuff
the count to 53.
with respect to operations tonight, assuming we get a launch. The Electron is 50 foot. This Electron rocket is 55 feet tall. It will have about 50,000 pounds of thrust, and I am looking to data to my right because it's easier to reference that way. At about T plus 3 minutes and 12 seconds, once the Electron rocket climbs above the atmosphere, you will see the fairing jettison. And then a few minutes after that, it's about T plus 5 and some change, you'll see the battery packs that power the engine turbo pumps come off the rocket. Electron's a different type of rocket than what you're used to watching because it's much smaller. If you watch the Ariane Space Vega mission, which we watched last year for OneWeb, it will be very much like that launch. That was a small sat delivery system. Electron is built to produce
Secured under the
ease of
agency
access
beyond
to
acquisition
space.
of small
Rocket Lab's entire
modular
philosophy is
projects.
let's mass produce rockets, let's mass produce satellites. Let's get the companies and the ideas who cannot afford to be their own launch provider into space on a generic platform to do the work they want to do. And that's the entire philosophy. So, as they said, they produce a rocket like less than once a month or less, basically. This is definitely a replay of the stream from the other day. There's no way that 10 minutes is right.
Of a diverse payload class, from national security to research projects.
So let's see. Launch sequence provided by Rocketlab and kit. Wow, that's really, really tiny.
Shortly after kickstage
There we go.
separation, so we won't be bringing you live video of payload deployment. Keep an eye on our social.
So let me bring this over real quick so you guys can see it.
After the webcast has concluded.
So T-minus 18 minutes, launch director conducts go no go poll. That's about the time we start seeing the aborts happen on Wednesday night, and then we walk through the auto sequence startup, the handoff to the onboard system for launch sequence, the ignition we never got to, nor do we get to the liftoff, and then your first major event is MECO of the Rutherford engines at 2 minutes 36 seconds.
All separation events are armed.
RF, please confirm stage 2 S-band is being switched to high power for fun.
Confirmed.
This has to be a
Avionics,
replay.
Cycle vehicle camera login and confirm.
Confirmed.
I'm going to recycle this page again.
Please confirm all separation events are armed.
All separation events are armed.
And let's
RF,
check
please confirm
Twitter one more
stage 2
time.
S-band is
See
being
if
switched
Rocket
to
Lab
high
said
power
anything
for
about
fun.
adjusting their time back up. Nope, 12:54:32. It just got republished.
Login and confirm.
Confirmed.
GC, please enable ground high-speed logging and confirm.
High-speed ground logging is enabled.
GC, please confirm that the range igniter pressures are in bounds.
This is interesting.
Data pressures are within bounds.
Let me take it off of here. Let's bring this tab over. This is their Twitter live feed, which is not the same as their YouTube live feed. They're still just sitting there, so weird. We'll see which one of these goes first with actual live content. I'm not going to continue to broadcast the audio here until they actually get their clock going right. Welcome to trying to produce a rocket launch on the internet. Yeah, the page that everyone's being referred to is what you see right now. Is this T-minus 8:57, which is not correct. You're at T-minus 20. They said the live stream would start at T-minus 15. So when we see this clock line up with the clock on the bottom, we'll go back to live audio with this, because right now it's out of sync. Oh, look at that.
Scott joined Rocketlab's board in 2015, bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience from his time at Skybox, Iridium, and Digital Globe. Scott was a passionate, dedicated, and kind leader who would go to great lengths to help others achieve things in
Nope,
space,
it's still the old one.
but ultimately
Okay.
help
That is going to be super bright. Yep. So anyway, everybody. Again, hopefully you had a good Friday. Thank you for hanging out in chat tonight, even if you're just lurking or if you've already gone to sleep. I know it's early in the morning. We are about 20 minutes away from launch, 1937 T-minus. And we are waiting for Rocketlab to go live with their coverage. That video you see is from Wednesday. Looking to tomorrow morning, we'll have a look at the 45th Weather Squadron and see what they're saying about the launch potential for Starlink 8 in the morning. Only a 30% chance of weather impact. This is really cool, though. Let's go ahead and bring this up. This is their capture test. This was actually pretty awesome the other night. For those of you that missed it, Rocketlab is able to they are able to do captures of their rockets on re-entry, their first stage, and they do it in a very different way than SpaceX does, and it has to do with the mass of their rocket. They use helicopters. I did some research on when they're planning to put this into practice again, and it will not be until Electron 17 when they go to a new block model. So you're talking 5 Electron launches, counting this one, until they go to reusability. But this is what they're going to do. So they're simulating the drop of an Electron first stage right there. You broke out your own Queen playlist, you're welcome. Peace. And you can see that there's the main parachute, and that small chute behind it is called a target drogue. And that is what the helicopter is actually going to catch. But this puts Rocketlab in a very small company. Oh well, I mean their launches are cheaper. Period. I mean, the fuel payload alone is much smaller. You're talking about almost 100-foot difference in spacecraft height. A helicopter could not catch a Falcon 9. The Falcon 9 first stage would drag it down. You would need a much more. You need like probably a pave load to catch that thing. But it's for a small sat operator like Rocketlab, who is younger than SpaceX by a fair amount, to have already developed a mechanism to make their stages reusable, and they already produce rockets at a very fast pace. It changes small sat delivery tremendously. The question is, how long is it going to take them to refurbish this first stage and get it back to use? SpaceX's turnaround time is about to what, 2.5 months? How quickly can they take that first stage and get it turned around for use again? Because that's a much smaller rocket than Falcon 9. Yeah, Pavlo would probably still be a stretch, but it's one of the larger single rotor helicopters out there, because you couldn't use like a Chinook or anything like that. Again, that T-5 is not right.
Stage 2 HUVs are off.
Confirm latch is disabled on stage 2.
They're still broadcasting what was live last week, so we're going to refresh this again, make sure we are not just watching their replay stream. Oh, look, we're ahead. We're still on T-5 down there, which is, again, not right.
Stage 2 HUVs are off.
Confirm latch is
Liftoff remains 12:54:32 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So the clock that we have running at 15:06 is accurate.
Confirmed.
And stage avionics, please disable stage 3 RCS heaters and regulator heaters.
That clock down below is actually frozen now, so maybe this is actually live.
Flight stage 1.
Please confirm motor control HVTC is falling on stage 1 engine.
So they should be well into their checks by now.
And please confirm stage 1 engines are back to idle.
Confirmed.
About the right time frame for that that level sunset too. Oh, we might catch that that rocket plume due to the sunset that they described on Wednesday, which would be amazing to see tonight if that gets recorded.
And confirm stage 2 engine is an idle.
Idle.
I think that might actually be the live image. I didn't think it was. T-minus 14 minutes. Weather's still green. Systems are still green. So we'll use my clock. We'll use the BOSA flight control clock because it seems to be more accurate than what Rocket Labs has on their screen right now. And when they start to Alright, so Rocket Lab says it's monitoring heavy clouds over the launch base. There's a small chance the Electron rocket countdown may be paused at T-minus 12 minutes to wait for an improvement in weather conditions, so we'll just hang out and wait for that update. Their clock's not correct anyway right now, so we'll see what happens.
Go for GC avionics. please enable HV bat heaters as required.
Copy.
Weird.
Avionics, RCO on mission core to proceed with Foxtrot 1700 AFTS hold procedure.
Proceeding with Foxtrot 1700.
RF flight mission.
Flight RF.
Please decrease S2 and S1 S-band to low power.
Confirmed.
So T-minus 13.
And RF, please safe Southland UHF ground station and confirm.
Confirmed.
They have reset the countdown clock.
Okay, flight on.
So let's get this updated. It is now
launch switch cover is closed.
going to be
Sarsia, go ahead.
01.
Launch switch cover.
That's the wrong key.
Switch cover's down.
12.
We have just had an update from Mission Control here. We are now entering a hold due to high winds. The team is working to revert the clock to T-minus.
So they are
10
holding
minutes
for
to hold
sure.
a gap in these winds. So please stand by and enjoy these beautiful views of Electron on the pad.
Oh yeah, we got to do this. It's 01. 12. Don't know the seconds yet. There we go. New time.
Okay, and all
The
stations
T0 now set for 5:12 UTC or 1:12 AM Eastern time.
Reason being a drop in our PDOP for our AFTS GPS units. We were also tracking some on the edge winds. We're going to move back around, loop back around to T-minus 12 minutes and hold there.
That doesn't surprise me. So this is actually a scheduled hold right now. They announced it ahead of time. So we're going to hold until they go clear. Again, they announced that their launch time has been slipped until 1:12 UT or 1:12 Eastern time, 5:12 UTC. So we've slipped about 20 minutes. Not the end of the world if they still can hold the launch time tonight. But it makes for an interesting need to talk and present information. So, if you guys have questions or anything that you want to make a topic of conversation, please feel free. It gets it feels odd at times during these holds to kind of ramble on. What's going on next Friday with Vega proof of concept is there was an Earth imaging satellite that was up on Vega, was supposed to go up on Vega last year, and it exploded during flight. There was a 400 million plus insured payload, and Vega was grounded for an eval of all of its systems, and that eval's done. And the Vega rocket is launching basically an empty proof of concept to say the things that needed to be changed are changed. Let's fire off a rocket and make sure it doesn't blow up.
To clonk that follow button.
Is there a confirmed date for next Falcon Heavy? Nope. Falcon Heavy will be used to put supermassive payloads into orbit. So you're talking large communications satellites with big transponders, big transponder arrays, big footprints, high power. Oh yeah, it's an amazing vehicle to see fly. But I would say the next time Delta IV Heavy flies and they stream it, we need to watch that, because watching Delta IV Heavy fly is also something amazing. The only thing that's not amazing about it is there's no booster recovery, but it is a machine. So I'm just keeping track of information here. Still holding at 1:12 a.m. Eastern time for launch. 26 minutes and 15 seconds from now. At least it's clouds and not wind that are the problem. So when we get down into the, yeah, you can see they have now cycled their clock to T-minus 12. So we'll stay on a hold until we get to T-minus 12, and then try to sync up with their clock when they start it up. But right now, as long as they're on that scheduled hold, we'll continue to keep it lit blue. Another pretty sunset in New Zealand. Even with the thick low cloud base that you can see, that is the problem. Skies out there are always so pretty. It's taken a while for me to get, like, I love Rocketlab's mission names. I think they've got some great, like Birds of a Feather is one of their mission names. I love their naming style they use, and their patches are really well done, so I ordered all their patches. But this one, Electron 12, Don't Stop Me Now, was not available at the time. It's taken some time for them to get those patches here. They're almost 2 weeks since I placed that order, but again, assuming there's a launch here, I will do my best to acquire the Electron 12 patch for the wall. One other note, this goes out more to Mads and Doc.
We're currently in a hold at T-minus 12
there we
minutes
go.
due to high winds. We'll keep you updated with information as it comes to hand.
That's not what they're saying online. They said they said thick clouds, not high winds, dude. But whatever, whichever one, we'll hang out. But this is more for Doc and Mads because they're the only two that are really there. There used to be a Patreon to support this content. And that's because I subscribe to many information feeds to make this happen. I didn't really end those subscriptions, but I did turn Patreon back on for June. So I was actually supposed to, I didn't want to turn it on for June. I was just fiddling around with it, and apparently it just stayed on. I thought I had paused it. But you will, if you, for Doc and Mads, your Patreon, you already got hit with it in June, and I apologize for that out of the blue, $5 or whatever. But if you want to turn it off, turn it off. But starting, beginning of July, it'll be there again just to help me offset the basic costs of doing this. There's zero incentive for you to give me any cash for Patreon, except to support the content. Because again, Spaceflight Now is one of the forums that I use for information. It's more for live telemetry data during the countdown, so I can, like, when you see me looking over here, I'm looking at a coordinated message board that is paid for access, so I can see what they're saying at each respective launch site. And then I also subscribe to NASA Spaceflight, which gives me a massive amount of historical archival data to access from old missions. It helps me put together presentations. So that's what that money goes to. In terms of the tiers, they're there because Patreon makes me have tiers, but there's nothing I'm gonna give you back for pressing those, for doing that Patreon, except give you, my sincere thanks for helping me again to offset the cost of, Adobe Photoshop's Creative Suite and all the other stuff I use to make these streams happen. So there you go. There's your announcement that Patreon is a thing again. T-minus 22 minutes on a scheduled hold. Mission clock is actually held at 12 minutes, but the scheduled launch time is now
Some of you might know we celebrated our 3-year
1:12 a.m. Eastern time.
As we wait for winds to subside, let's take a look back at everything we've achieved in those 3 years.
The reason that I showed
So
that
just
during
noticed
the
that we're in a
the
T-minus
music
12-minute hold
is
due
just to
high winds
illustrate
at
that you
Launch
saw me
Complex
put in
1
quote
for our
a
12th
dip, but it
Electron mission.
is
We'll keep you updated as we hear more from the
there's
operators.
no tobacco, no nicotine, so there's that. I know I'm on T for teen. I don't chew tobacco. If anybody wants to report me. I did that for a while too. This is a food and plant-based flavored dip that satisfies my oral habit without having to, give myself mouth cancer. I got like 3 hours. More queens here for whatever. Appreciate you being here, Fish. T-minus 1920 real time. The clock is held at T-minus 12 on a scheduled hold for high winds or thick clouds, whichever one they want to tell us. I'm getting a look at launch pad 1A in New Zealand as the sun begins to set. And again, if they time this right with this hold, high clouds and thick winds, yep. As they time this right, you might get to see a really nice dispersal pattern from the Rutherford engines during launch tonight. The way in which the light refracts at sunset makes those engines look really cool. They showed video of it Wednesday night, how it had happened, I believe, on Electron, I think it was 10. So hopefully, it'd be really cool to see that on video tonight. Still no further update on weather. That doesn't mean much. They've been letting the clock get pretty low on this launch before really saying they have a problem. So we'll continue to let the clock roll. Hope with our fingers crossed that we get a launch tonight and that we're not launching it like the end of the window. The end of the window, by the way, is 2:32 a.m. Eastern Time again, or roughly around there. So we'll see. Really, really pretty launch complex. I like how it's just this one facility out on the edge of the peninsula, and it's very green still around the area. Sorry for the motorcycle in the background. My windows are open. It's really warm here. It's actually really warm in this flight suit too. But I love this thing. I love the fact that my mom helped make it. It's got AB emblem official. NASA is who go. NASA goes to AB emblem for their patches. That's where all the patches came from. If there's, I think you guys have ever seen, or some of you have never seen, the wings here are Air Force astronaut wings. It says Fixer for my call sign on the patch. Even though I was not an astronaut, I did have jump wings. I like the fact that that's there, represents my past. It's a really cool thing that my mom helped put together. And I chose the color that I chose for it because I didn't want it to be the same color as the NASA flight suits, because BOSA is, this weird canon that me and Perm and Dustin and Gilly and everyone have going on. It's another one of these fake, entities like Fixer Industries and Permacorp, and so I wanted it to be real with the patches, but I didn't want it to be me here sitting here like pretending I had earned that flight suit. So that's why it's the darker blue. 16 minutes, 20 seconds left until the announced time. Still on a hold, technically, at T-minus 12. No further update thus far. Still holding that scheduled time. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at a tweet that is in my timeline because I'm looking for space-related tweets, and I saw someone tweeting about the sheer amount of toilet paper available in their local supermarket now. The people have calmed the hell down. It's just there. It's like, I go to check on a launch time. It's like, toilet paper. Like, well, that's good. It's good that there's all that toilet paper there. Not to be political or anything, because we avoid that here, but I hope that people understand that reopening does not mean normal. That you still have to be smart, wash your hands, wear a mask if you're in close proximity to someone else out of courtesy to them. It's not protecting you. Your mask protects... My mask protects you, your mask protects me. So, me wearing a mask is me caring about you.
Minutes. We'll keep these views of Electron on the pad at Launch Complex 1 up on screen, so you can enjoy these beautiful sunset views.
The sunset's pretty, man. I was saying that in chat on Wednesday night. So in any event, just... There's gonna be dum-dums out there that don't care, that are, like, so self-involved they... so self-involved they can't be bothered. Yeah, there's a couple states that have had, I think Alabama is one of them, that have said the spike has been so bad that they're gonna have to lock it down again, and cell data backs up the idea that people are acting as if green means the way things were in January, and that's simply not true. And if they can't, and let's be honest, they're likely not, as a populace, going to wise up, this is going to be something that, as a nation, we are just going to have to become part of the new normal. One of the adjustments I made was I have a sling bag that it's a Molly bag. It's got the loops on it, tactical loops, and one of the things that I've put on there is a glove dispenser. And one of the things I've put on there is a hook for my mask. I have a very good mask. I have one that I wear. I have one that I wear when I go downstairs, and I have one that I wear when I go out like the grocery store, because actually has filters in it. And I've adjusted my routine so that those things are there, because that's protecting me, but it's also protecting you, and it's protecting my parents. So as the world decides to open what is, in my opinion, too soon, just be smart, be courteous to other people. The only way the world becomes a better place is if we care about more than ourselves. And I think that a lot of the people in our community are good, are good-hearted, good people. They believe in the whole "be excellent to each other" mantra that I believe in. So if someone is rude out there to you about a mask, or they're not wearing a mask, don't give in to that animosity. Just realize that you are who you are, caring about someone else, and they couldn't be bothered. But anyway, T-minus 12:51. Let's see if they restart this clock at T-minus 12. I hate when I get all soapboxy, even though I know certain people like listening to it for some reason. Let's see. No update on clouds. We're still working off of an update from 16 minutes ago. Nothing further on the weather since then. Sunset real quick. See if there's still enough ambient light. But until I see that clock roll, we'll keep the blue light lit. "48 seconds ago, they decided to go live with their launch broadcast, so let's see what that looks like. Yeah, let's go back over here and relaunch this. Oh, that's where they are. Okay. Well, they have not started their clock back up below us, but that doesn't mean much. They have initiated or started tweeting that their live broadcast is up. Let's bring that back around. It's actually different than what we got going on here. So let's go here, and the clock is rolling. There we go.
Likely we could go into a planned hold at T-minus 12 minutes to wait for a gap in the weather for launch. Today's mission is a rideshare launch to low Earth orbit for NASA, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the University of New South Wales.
Let's get this right. This is a minute and
one of the satellites on board today is
5
the
seconds
NASA
behind.
Andesite satellite. This payload has been created by students and professors at Boston University to study the Earth's magnetic field as part of NASA's CubeSat launch initiative. There are also 3 payloads on board which are designed, built, and operated by the NRO. This mission was procured under the agency's rapid acquisition of a small rocket
There we go.
Razor contract vehicle.
Synced up clock is rolling. Let's go green for go. They seem like they're counting it down.
A streamlined commercial approach for getting small satellites into space. This mission follows Rocketlab's first dedicated mission for the NRO, which was Birds of a Feather, that was launched in January this year.
I love that movie. No, I love that movie. Queen did a great job on that soundtrack.
New South Wales Canberra space, and
They had this Highlander Flash Gordon soundtrack
We'd like to thank
arc
our
in their
mission
history
partners
where
for
it was
choosing
just great
Electron as their
music.
ride to space today. It's great to be able to meet the needs of a diverse payload class, from national security to research projects on the
Give Me the
same mission.
Prize is still one of my favorite
Now,
Queen
as usual,
songs.
we'll be ending the live broadcast shortly after kickstage separation, so we won't be bringing you live video of payload deployment. Keep an eye on our social media pages for updates regarding deployment after the webcast has concluded.
T-minus 10:52. They have not announced a further hold. So I believe that they were. There's something weird. How was it dark 2 seconds ago and now it's light up now? There's something weird going on with their broadcast. They have two different streams rolling right now. That can't be right. Figure out which one you're doing here, Rocketlab. Which one of these is live? Okay, this one's live. Here we go. They literally listed two different channels. This one is the one with the live countdown, so we are now on the right video. Thank you very much.
From our inception, the mission is to open access to space for small satellites, and key to that access is launch frequency. We designed and built a launch site that can support up to 120 missions.
I like
per year
Princess of the
to
Universe
offer our
Fish.
customers unprecedented access to space. Today, Electron is standing tall on LC-1 Pad A, but just out of the frame, work is continuing on Pad B, an additional launch pad within the same complex. By operating two pads at the same site, we eliminate the time required between launches for a full pad recycle, and instead we can launch back-to-back within hours, not days, weeks, or months.
Imagine that. They'll be able to roll out rockets. Oh, that tankard? That is Death Wish Coffee's space commemorative.
Right now we're preparing for our first mission from another pad, Rocketlab Launch Complex 2. This pad is located at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport within the NASA Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia, USA. We are just weeks away from our first launch from this site, a dedicated mission in partnership with the Department of Defense's Space Test Program and the Space and Missile Systems Center's Small Launch and Targets Division.
Alright, we look like we're on the right video now. That's good news.
Systems tests to verify launch systems on Electron and the ground systems ahead of this exciting first mission.
Yep, we're on the right one.
Let's check out some of the action going down at Launch Complex 2.
Countdown remains on track for liftoff. Strong back structure will retract shortly, probably in the next minute or so. They go back to it. I love how self-contained their launch system is. Again, it's a small launch vehicle, so they can pull that off, but it's efficient. They roll it out there laterally, they get it in position, and the entire vehicle is the launch platform. It's the same strong back structure that gets it there. There is no tower, that's the whole thing. It's a good design.
Stay tuned for updates about our first mission from LC2 in the coming weeks. But for now, let's head back to LC1 as we hit T-minus 7 minutes and 30 seconds until launch for today's Don't Stop Me Now mission.
Don't stop me now.
Green and enabled for flight.
FDS is green and enabled.
The great mission name. They should, you know what? They should name every rocket launch ever after a great song.
Proceed with strong back retract for flight.
Strong back retract. Again, I mentioned this the other night, and this will be repetitive for those of you who were here, but when you look at the Falcon 9 strong back retract, it's only about 1.5 degrees. It's just enough for the rocket to clear. The strong back retract here, you're going to see, is going to be a much bigger swing. It's about 22 degrees that arm will retract back. And the difference is that there are 4 locking mechanisms, or 4 clamps that hold the Electron rocket to its pad for the next 6 minutes, now that the strong back is on its way back. That gap's already way bigger than what the gap is for the strong back on Falcon 9.
Looking at our 12th Electron launch vehicle on the pad here at Launch Complex 1.
I love Queen.
Photon
Queen's a
rocket
great
is
band.
three-stage liquid
Freddie
fuel launch
Mercury and
vehicle designed specifically
Rob
for
Halford
small
were
satellite
super
missions.
important artists to
Today,
me growing up
Electron
that
has flown
framed
40
not just love
commercial
of
and
music,
government
but
small satellites
a
to
proper
space.
understanding of humanity for me.
Successful deployment of today's payload will bring that total count to 53. The satellites on board this rideshare mission are safely
And then we
encapsulated
talked about
inside
the other
rocket's
night,
nose
Brad
cone
May has
structure,
got
which
his
you can see on
PhD in
top.
astrophysics and is
That's
contributing.
otherwise
He
called the
contributed to New
fairing.
Horizons.
As we make our way down Electron, you
Imagine
can see
that being your
white
life.
stripes have formed around the vehicle's black structure. This effect is created by the cold liquid oxygen in Electron's tanks, which causes moisture to condense as ice on the outside of the rocket. The first stage, the area where you see the largest white band, is essentially one large fuel tank for the 9 3D printed Rutherford engines at the bottom of the vehicle that will propel Electron through Earth's atmosphere on its way to space. Now, when it comes to launch frequency, we've implemented numerous techniques like 3D printing and automated manufacturing to help us build and launch vehicles faster and more often. But what if we could avoid the need to build a whole new stage every flight? This is exactly what our team is working on right now. We are well into our development program to make Electron a reusable launch vehicle, a process that will involve retrieving Electron from the sky with a helicopter after it has descended back through the Earth's atmosphere under a parachute. While we're not conducting any recovery testing on today's mission, you can keep an eye out for recovery developments on our 17th Electron mission coming up later this year.
The new block riff of Electron flies on
In the past 3 years,
Electron
Electron has
17.
become well acquainted with low Earth orbit, but in the coming months, we'll be venturing a little further, some 384,000 kilometers further. Early next year, Rocketlab will launch
That's
a
a lot
CubeSat
further.
into lunar orbit for NASA. This historic pathfinding
Wow,
mission
really?
supports NASA's Artemis program, which will land the first woman and next man on the moon by
I did not
2020.
know they had a
Using
CubeSat
our
mission for
Electron rocket and
NASA,
Photon lunar
a lunar
spacecraft,
CubeSat
Rocketlab
mission.
will
That's a
launch
big
NASA's
deal.
Capstone CubeSat into a unique
That'll
lunar
be a
orbit.
really cool mission to follow.
Capstone stands for Cislunar Autonomous Positioning System Technology Operations and Navigation Experiment. Capstone's primary objective is to test and verify the calculated orbital stability of the near rectilinear halo orbit around the moon, which is the same orbit planned for the Lunar Gateway.
Mhm.
The Gateway is a planned small space station that will
So they're
orbit around
testing the
moon to
Gateway
provide
orbit
astronauts access to
math
the lunar
with
surface.
their
It
cislunar
will feature living quarters for astronauts,
CubeSat
a
launch.
lab for
That's
science and research, and ports for
that's
visiting
promising because Gateway is going to be
Capstone
awesome
will also test a
once
navigation
it's built.
system that will measure its position relative to NASA's
Space
Lunar
gas
Reconnaissance
station
Orbiter, or LRO,
and
without relying on
disembarking
ground
point.
stations.
Imagine if they
Capstone is
left
one
the
of the
command
first steps
module in
to learn how
orbit
to operate more
so that
robust
the
missions in this orbit,
multiple
and
limbs
laying the
could
groundwork
attach
for
and
future
detach
exploration
over and over and over to
missions.
go to the moon and
We're
back.
incredibly excited to
That's
be
the
part of
idea of
this
Gateway,
historic mission, and we
a
can't wait to
mini
share it.
station in orbit around the
So as we
moon.
continue through today's count, let me hand you over to the team in mission control.
T-minus
to
3
listen in
minutes,
on the
45
final minutes
seconds
before
as
liftoff.
we get ready for launch here. No further problems. Actually, they just reported it a minute ago. The entire range is green, including weather. T-minus 3 minutes, 30 seconds to launch, and everything's green. We've only ever gotten to see an Electron launch on replay with the BOSA streams because they're always so late. This being another great example of that. But I'm thankful this is a Friday night and that we were able to watch this together. And those of you who are watching on the VOD, no problems. We appreciate the fact that you are interested enough to pick up on what we're doing here. T-minus 3 minutes. Electron confirmed, ready for flight.
Be advised, vehicle is currently green, ready for flight. VMS, flight on mission.
Go ahead.
Please confirm flight computer as goes to green.
Confirm.
And VMS, please lock the auto sequence and confirm.
VMS is locked.
All stations flight on mission, I can confirm we're go for auto sequence start at T.
Those of you that have rolled in the last few minutes, I do appreciate it. Thank you for lurking. With that second tweet with T-minus 5 minutes, hopefully got your attention. We are getting ready to watch Electron 12. Don't Stop Me Now is the mission name. It is a small launch device putting 5 different satellites in orbit from New Zealand. Rocketlab is a fascinating company to follow. Hopefully we get to do some more of their launches. They are currently in the final 2 minutes of their checks. There has been a delay of about 20 minutes in terms of the countdown tonight, but they look to be good right now.
Avionics, flight on mission code.
Flight avionics.
Please confirm all AV bats have been switched to internal power.
All AV bats are on internal power.
On the auto sequence.
Confirm stage power is disabled on all 3 stages.
External power is disabled.
All stations be advised, vehicles now on internal power. PLS, flight on mission.
PLS copies.
PLS, please begin lock skid reset.
The vehicle itself is now in control of the launch. Range is still green. Yeah, it bugs me too when it happens. Because we get off, now we're off by a second, and now we're ahead by a second because they can't seem to make up their mind.
Please disable anti-geysering and confirm.
All engines and all propellant tanks pressurized for flight.
Stage 1 tanks pressed.
Wait for T-minus 2 seconds for ignition.
Stage 2 confirmed. Stage 2 tanks pressed.
Stage 2 is pressed.
Stage 2 press means stage 2 pressurized. There are technically 3 stages on the Electron. There's a large first stage, a small second stage, and a kick stage. The kick stage is that final push to the orbital trajectory they want. T-minus 30 seconds for Electron's launch of Don't Stop Me Now. A great, great mission name for a good rocket. There goes the chills down my spine at T-minus 10.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There's a liftoff of Electron 12, Don't Stop Me Now, from New Zealand. Look at that! Fly, baby. One kilometer high at 280 kilometers per hour and climbing. What a great view.
Stage 1 propulsion's nominal.
Coming up to max Q. Again, max Q is the maximum physical dynamic pressure on the vehicle in flight. Most rockets throttle down as they approach this milestone. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen.
Milestones of any mission to space, passing max Q. This is the point at which Electron will experience the highest amount of aerodynamic force on its way to orbit. Let's listen into the call from Mission Control.
T plus 107, 1,400 kilometers per hour at a height of 11 kilometers, and you are at max Q. Still climbing high. Next milestone is staging, when the first stage will separate. Again, there is tested capability for a first stage recovery, but there will not be one tonight.
Cleared max Q.
Max Q cleared. The rocket will throttle back up. That is a really, really bright set of Rutherford engines firing on the bottom of that thing. Firing into that cloud bank, catching that haze.
Entering burnout detect mode.
Rocket is now supersonic.
Coming up next is main engine cutoff, or MECO, which occurs when the 9 Rutherford engines shut down after exhausting their fuel reserves. Upon shutdown, the empty stage is jettisoned so that stage 2 can ignite and continue on.
Look at the plume coming off the bottom of that thing.
30 seconds remaining.
30 seconds to MECO. And staging. T plus 210. 5,700 kilometers per hour. 50 kilometers loft. Halfway to the Kármán line.
MECO confirmed.
There's MECO on the Rutherfords on stage 1.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
So your telemetry is a little, your video is a little behind here. Nope. There it goes. Stage 1 falls away.
That's the call we're looking for. We've had successful MECO.
Fairing SEP coming up.
Electron's first stage and ignition of the vacuum-optimized Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage. We're approaching T plus 3 minutes into this mission with fairing separation.
Man, shoot, think of the host. Fairing SEP complete. T plus 3 minutes 27 seconds.
On your screen, the fairing has separated, clearing the way for payload deployment, which occurs approximately 1 hour.
Yeah, there's 2 little flashes off to the side. Those are your fairings falling away. Not recoverable fairing on Electron. The fairings being used this morning for Starlink have both been used in the past on different missions. The booster is a reuse as well.
For the next few minutes, you'll be hearing the word nominal quite a bit. The latest call was from Kevin Garcia, our Stage 2 operator. It's one of our favorite words at Rocketlab, and it simply means everything is going as expected throughout the flight.
The language of spaceflight as invented by NASA. It's about a 6.5 minute burn until we get to the kick stage fire.
On your left, you'll see a view of the operators in the mission control room. These are the people you've been listening to throughout the broadcast on the mission control net, and they're monitoring all things launch related, from propulsion and telemetry data all the way through to our network traffic. We've heard plenty of updates from George Buchanan, our GNC operator today. The Rocketlab GNC team are actively recruiting for senior roles in our Photon satellite program.
GNC is the guidance operator.
Mathematics or physics, head to our careers section at rocketlabusa.com for more info.
I wish I had the aerospace engineering background. I have looked. You guys need IT people? I'll take that job.
Stage 2 propulsion remains nominal.
E plus 505 and climbing. They've taken down their telemetry of speed, so I can't give that to you anymore. Probably about a third of the way through this S2 burn.
Up next is the battery hot swap.
Alright, Doc, drive safe. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Glad you got to see it. Hopefully you get have a quick night. We'll see you in the morning for Starlink. If not, then we'll see you for Fallout tomorrow probably. Glad this did not go until 2:30 in the morning, as was potential. Weather was good. It was a good liftoff. We get the kick stage set. That is where the broadcast will likely come to a close tonight. So you're looking at another few minutes here. Rocketlab will not even cover the payload distribution, simply because there are NRO satellites on board for one, and they're not going to broadcast where those satellites up from because they're definitely classified. When they say undisclosed NRO satellite, they should just put classified NRO satellite in the description of the payload.
Throttling down.
So they're going to throttle down that vacuum optimized Rutherford engine on the S2. You're about halfway through that S2 burn now. And the reason they make the distinction vacuum optimized is the combustion of the kerosene and the liquid oxygen.
Battery jettison confirmed.
That's the battery jettison for the hydro pumps.
As you've just heard, we've had successful battery hot swap. Electron's trajectory continues to look nominal as we hit 6 minutes and 50 seconds into this mission.
But the combustion profile in vacuum is different than it is at sea level, so that's why the engines are built differently based on the phase of the launch they are used in. So you hear the term vacuum optimized, that's what that's for. And I know I say that probably every launch, but you never know who's just going to watch this one video. E plus 7 minutes.
If you're just joining us, we've had successful liftoff of Rocketlab's Don't Stop Me Now mission aboard our Electron launch vehicle. We are nearing second engine cutoff with kick stage separation scheduled in about a minute and a half. While on this mission, the kick stage is being used in its most basic form to deploy our customer payloads to orbit. However, the kick stage can be adapted to become a satellite in its own right. With the addition of elements like higher performance propulsion, radiation-tolerant components...
About 2 minutes left in the Rutherford engine burn.
Rocketlab's in-house designed, built, and operated satellite. Keep an eye out for our first Photon mission coming soon.
Yep. Okay. You're talking about maybe T plus 10, T plus 950, T plus 930, T plus 10 is where the second stage burn will end. And we'll be in the kick stage set. And as they were talking about, the kick stage, the concept of a kick stage is not unique to Electron. Soyuz uses the Fregat kick stage to put payloads in orbit. That is the Soyuz version that is used by ESA and Arianespace.
Engine burnout to take mode.
Again, thanks for hanging out. Those of you who are here tonight, your interest in what we do here is appreciated, even if you're quietly lurking. I'm glad you are interested and hopefully enjoying the launch. seeing someone besides SpaceX and NASA launch is important. There are a lot of small launch providers around the world. Rocketlab is one of the great ones. Coming up on T plus 9 minutes. And for those of you who will be up this morning at 5 a.m. Eastern Time, their secondary engine cutoff as they get ready for the kick stage step. For those who will be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, we are going to do the Starlink 8 launch from Kennedy Space Center at about 5:23 this morning, so we're talking in about 4 hours.
The kick stage is on its way to deliver the payloads to their individual orbits. For those of you who might be wondering what the kick stage is, here's a quick explanation of how this ingenious machine works to deploy.
What's up, Skinja?
That follow button. Once the second stage takes us to an elliptical parking orbit, the kick stage separates and ignites its 3D printed Curie engine, circularizing the orbit. Using a cold gas reaction control system, the kick stage accurately orients itself to deploy each satellite to a specific orbit. Using this system, the kick stage is able to insert its payloads with precise orbits, even on rideshare missions with multiple satellites like this one. After deployment, the Curie engine reignites, propelling the kick stage to a lower orbit where it will be dragged into the Earth's atmosphere at a much faster rate, leaving behind nothing in orbit but our customers' satellites.
And that is exactly what you want a launch provider to do. Leave no residual in LEO.
Twitter and Facebook accounts when we can.
They're burning up their kick stages on purpose to leave no garbage in space. Again, Rocketlab is one of the great ones. They give a crap about that sort of thing.
Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you again here soon. I'm Max Muncy, and until next time, this is Rocketlab Mission.
It is very responsible. So, as I was saying, we have another mission coming up in 4 hours. I will be taking a nap, but we're gonna bring that mission up real quick so you guys can see what's coming up here. That is the Starlink slide. Let's get you up and over here. So, as we look at this morning, this is what we have going on. I'm sorry for the bright white. You can't do nothing about that on the picture preview inside of Microsoft Photos. But 4:55 a.m. this morning, I will fire the stream back up or earlier, depending on breakfast and stuff. Launch time for Starlink 8 is 5:21 a.m. There is actually a 70% chance of favor. Is it dark mode? Where's the dark mode, Fish? Where's the dark mode? I think you're making that up. It's in some other setting. Well, that's not helping me. Settings. Oh! Yay! It didn't do it. Anyway, we'll fix it before the next one. So if you're up this morning, want to see another launch, photo section, yeah, but double clicking it brings us up, and I make these graphics fancy so you guys can get a snapshot of what's going on very quickly. One-stop shop, you can see what's going down. So again, dark mode sucks less. I know. Let me get through the rest of this. We'll figure out dark mode when the stream's over. But again, a reuse of both fairing halves. Of course, I Still Love You is free for the recovery. This will be at Launch Complex 40 Kennedy Space Center in about almost exactly 4 hours. I want it all. Me too. Eclipse is active. But anyway, I will see you guys who want to wake up. Okay, that one needs to go away. I know where that's coming from. Anyway, I will see you guys in about 4 hours if you want to be awake for Starlink 8. Other than that, get some sleep. Thank you all for being here. I do appreciate it. And hey, look at that. You can see my background. Let's go over here. And beyond that, have a great morning. If you do sleep in, weird. Maybe they don't have all the kinks worked out yet. In any event, have a great morning, everybody. We will be back at about 4:55 a.m. for Starlink 8. If you are awake, please feel free to join us. If not, catch the VOD. Gonna poke support. You do that, Fish. I will talk to you all later. Thanks for being here. It was cool to see Electron take off. I'll talk to you in a couple hours.